Petrula, what do we need to do to make sure that we don't squander this? How do we prepare for this? What do we say?
Okay, let's just start with some technical stuff. Okay, in the first 3 seconds, they will have an impression of you. Before you even open your mouth, they have decided something. So what are they getting the impression of? First of all, it's what maybe came before, like, are you on time? Are you trying to converse with them in an environment that's pleasant to look at? You're a designer. Design your environment. The camera is eye level, okay? Because if you're sort of down here looking up, it doesn't feel very good, right? Or if you're over here or going like that, it's odd. So we want to be emulating a conversation. You're trying to say, this is what it would be like if I was standing 4 feet away from you and we'd be talking. That's how it should be. You should be able to use your hands if that's what you do. And the lighting has to be really good right here because most communication is nonverbal. So it's not just what you're saying, but how they can hear by your voice being up. This is like good posture, but for your mouth, right? So what I'm saying sounds brighter than if I'm like, hi, nice to meet you. My name's Petrula. I'm really happy to meet you here. Thanks. Thanks for your time today. Okay. And it's
Are you
not
speaking
like
from your diaphragm there?
No, I'm
how are you
speaking.
getting that voice?
It's like, I'm just trying, I'm not making a connection at all. Can you imagine meeting someone and they're like, hi, so nice to meet you. It's horrible. So I'm not saying you have to be smiling like this. It's not what I'm talking about. But know that
That's scary.
If you are articulating your words really carefully, these parts, there's like a smile in here and it helps my voice be brighter. I think people should really hear themselves speak and practice it almost like an instrument. How can your voice instill trust and confidence and authority? And it's a very difficult thing for a younger generation that hasn't had this level of communication. So if you can do that, you will connect with your interviewer so much faster and so much more effectively. So the first thing you say is not, can you hear me? You want to talk to them. Like, I am so excited to meet you. You be the employer. You interview me.
Okay.
Okay?
Round 1. 3, 2, 1, fight!
Chris, my name's Petrula Vrontikis. And
Hi, Petrula.
I am so excited to meet you. I've been following your channel for a while. And also we have some mutual friends in the motion design industry. And I'm excited about the opportunity to possibly work with you. And I was looking to see about opportunities that you might have. Okay.
Well, first of all, Petrula, I love your energy. And maybe there's an opportunity here. You seem like future material to me. Are you a fan of the channel? Have you watched any of our videos?
I've watched a lot of your videos, and I think you are excelling in certain areas. And I might offer a unique skill set to kind of fill in some of the areas that maybe you guys aren't touching on right now. Because I come from a slightly different background. And it could be that it could be a good complement. So I wanted to talk to you about any of those opportunities and see if I have identified them or if there are ones maybe you've identified that I hadn't thought of, and we can see if we can collaborate.
Wow. That sounds fantastic. I'm intrigued. Tell me more.
Well, I think you guys are really working well on the idea of business and design. But it may be that you actually start mentoring people to teach, and not necessarily in a formal way. Maybe informal teaching. You're actually teaching people how to have podcasts. You're teaching people how to have channels, how to exercise their voice and become fluent in what they know. It would be great for you to be able to help people do what you do, but that's more authentic to them. And I love the idea that you can teach people to teach in non-traditional, non-conventional ways, because I think that's where you excel. And I can bring my experience from formal teaching to maybe fill in the gaps in regards to some of the fundamentals.
When can you start?
That was easy.
Okay. Woo. Well, I was like starting to sweat here at the interviewer. Okay.
Is there anything that you saw on my resume that you wanted any clarification on? I did want to show you some projects coming up, but I also wanted to find out if you had any questions in regards to my background.
I'm going to be honest with you, Petrula. I didn't look at your resume. You come highly recommended, and I'm impressed with what I've heard so far. I think the best way for us to move forward is for me to put you on some kind of trial basis with us, where we can see if we're both a good fit for each other. How does that sound?
I think that may be where we end up, but I think it's really important that I actually understand more about what it is that you are, what your goals are. Because in some instances, it might be aligned with mine, and so it really has the best chance of working. But I think we do need to have a few more conversations because I want to make sure that whatever we embark on has the best chance of success. Before the interview, you want to do as much as you possibly can to make sure that you know what the parameters are around this interview time you have. So you need to ask them how long the interview is. Because if you think you're going to present something and you think you have an hour, but they've only got a half an hour, it's going to be super awkward. You also want to ask how many people are going to be there, because it may be a one-on-one, or they may have you talking to a whole team. And you might want to ask the names of those folks and do your research on LinkedIn to figure out their backgrounds. So you're feeling more comfortable. The more knowledge you have about the time you have, the people you're going to see, and what it is that they're looking for, the less fear you're going to have. So that's just replacing these unknowns with knowns, and therefore the fear level goes down. So I would also say, I don't want to just poke through my website unless you'd like to do that. I'd like to create something custom for you. This is before the interview in an email. Are there particular projects that you would like me to highlight and give you more information on? So the thing that's probably the biggest buzzkill on a Zoom interview is for the interviewee to just poke through their website, because I can do that myself, and it's not the right tool for the job. The best thing to do is create like a custom deck, either PowerPoint or Keynote, and actually have curated this experience for people, so they know that you've really thought through that it's for them. But just by asking a simple question like what kinds of things you're looking for, what projects did you see that piqued your interest, then you can go deeper on those projects than you might have been able to on a website. Besides, a website is, like the way the text works, the way the sound works. It can be an absolute Zoom interview disaster to poke through someone's website.
Now, granted, I'm rusty like a bucket of nails on interviewing because I don't really interview people, and there's people who do that for me. But I do want to say this. You're a candidate who's interviewed in ways that no candidate has ever interviewed with me before. Obviously, you're a very articulate person with a lot of confidence, and you know how to hold yourself as a person who can do public speaking. I can't even imagine some young person sitting in front of me who's going to have the poise and the command of language and the thoughtfulness in how you phrase things. It's just, this is like one of those unreal God level interview things, right? So I'm like, I have nothing else. Here's the job. Why don't you just run the company for me at this point, right?
Well, Chris, you can't call yourself a conventional employer or business owner either.
Right. That is true. That is all very fair. And I do want to point out several things that from a prospective employer that Petrula did really well. And I do want to say this because, look, where you're at and where Petrula's at, yeah, there's some light between the two of you. I get that. But what we wanted to show you is if you could have your ideal version of your interview, it would look something like what just transpired. Because I understand our fans and our friends on the internet, the first thing they're going to say in the comments was like, I can't do that. But she's super experienced. She runs companies. She teaches at ArtCenter. Who am I? Right. So let's just kind of break it down. What happened between Petrula and I? And I think this is probably a good way to kind of bring our live stream to a close here. Okay. Well, first of all, Petrula looks amazing. She sounds amazing. And that's because there's a lot of time and attention put into this. And it just communicates right from the jump. I'm a professional. Please take me seriously. And I'm prepared. She's dressed for the job that she wants. She didn't show up in her pajamas. So she's exactly who she wants to present herself to be. Who knows what her whole life is like, but this is a very good first impression. It would blow me away if this actually was a real interview, because like, when do you start? Like, I wouldn't even ask the first interview question, right? And then she used a lot of questions and phrasing that says to me, as a potential employer, she's done her homework. She's really not just watched the videos, she found gaps where we could grow. And as somebody who wants to grow my business, and I don't know any business that doesn't want to grow their business, she's bringing a whole breath of fresh air and a bag of ideas that really resonate with me, but I've not been able to act on. And then she neatly, very carefully wove her skill set with this idea that she's talking about into just this perfect union. And it was just like, I don't have to do any guesswork right now. She has teaching experience, and she says formal teaching experience that might help me in teaching people in informal, non-traditional ways. And then she talked about a market that maybe we're underserving. She's hitting all of the invisible check boxes that I have in my mind. And if you can do 1/10, 1/50th of what she's done, you're giving yourself a really good shot of getting the job, but for sure standing apart from everybody else who hasn't prepared for this moment. Whatever exercise you have to do, mental, physical, spiritual, whatever, to show up for this and to be present, to be grounded, to be connected to this other person, you need to do that so that you don't blow that interview.
So I'm kind of asking you to reframe what you do in a value proposition. But you want to be very careful because you got to maintain humility. I didn't tell Chris, I'm going to be an asset to your company. Never, ever do that. Chris has to determine whether or not he needs me. I'm not going to sit there and tell him he does. You can tell them that you hope to be part of their teams. You hope to contribute. But I've heard it, I've read it so many times in cover letters. I know I will be an asset to your company. No, you don't. That's awfully presumptuous.
It is.
So be careful.
Petrula and Chris gave some amazing advice in this video. If you want to dive even deeper into all of the things you need to know, Petrula has created a course called Landing Your Dream Job. It takes you through all of the details of the creative job search, with insights from talent recruiters to agency owners and to Petrula herself, who has over 2 decades of experience working with everyone from college graduates to midlife career changers. She was even my teacher back in 2007. The link for Petrula's course will be in the description below. And if you haven't seen them yet, I've done a set of portfolio review videos if you want to know what someone is looking for when they're looking at your work. You'll want to check these out, and I'll leave the link in the description below as well. Thank you so much for watching, and we'll see you in the future.